Hi, this is Corey with Transformed Hearts Counseling Center here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I'm the Executive Director. Welcome back to the Winning Series. In this clip, I want to talk about boundaries and consequences. Now, first of all, I want to talk about acting out boundaries. So for the addict, we define sobriety as no porn, no masturbation, no sex outside of marriage. So those are the main boundaries. You may also add things like lying, flirting. If alcohol use or drug use gets you into your addiction, you'll want to have those as well. We like to set up consequences. We find consequences to be a proactive approach to violating a boundary. So if I act out, I know beforehand I got to pay this consequence, and I really don't want to pay that consequence. Therefore, I'm not going to act out. Okay? So you want to set those up. You might have 3 to 5 main boundaries. Okay. Now, if you're the addict or the anorexic, you implement your own boundaries. We don't want your spouse making those boundaries for you. As my clients, I'm not going to make them for them, because if they break them, then they resent their spouse or me as a clinician. So you be the man or the woman and be responsible and make your own boundaries. Consequences, then I like to set them up as strike 1, 2, and 3, kind of like baseball. And strike 1 might be something like tell my spouse within 24 hours that I broke my boundary that we've already talked about. And then I have to pay a consequence. So I might have to do something like pick up clean the kitty box, pick up the dog droppings in the backyard, give money to a political party I don't like, no coffee for that day or that week, sugar, carbs, whatever you're motivated by. Some people are motivated by a pain stimulus being applied, others by a pleasure stimulus being removed. Okay, giving away my 9-iron, my graphite golf club, fishing pole, family heirloom, my favorite watch, a pair of shoes, whatever that is that motivates you. For women, good consequences are, I can't do my hair, or my nails, or makeup for that day, or things like that. That's can be extremely painful. They can be silly things like I got to wear a black and a brown shoe to work that day. So whatever is motivational to you. Now, if you break a boundary and let's say you viewed porn and masturbated, you're already on strike 2. Okay, so you got to not only do your strike consequence number 1, but your consequence number 2 as well. Now, the thing that makes a consequence effective is that it's immediate to the event. I don't recommend I got to file divorce. Divorce happens weeks or months or years later. Okay, so something that's in the moment. The next I want to talk about boundaries for anorexia, or what we call acting in. So the boundaries for acting out are things we do not want you to do. Boundaries for acting in are actual things we do want you to do. So things like for anorexic sobriety are you're doing the 3 dailies with your spouse, you're completing your sexual agreement, and you're dating your spouse as well. Those are sobriety for acting in. If you're not doing those 3 things, you are not sober from your anorexia. Now, consequences for anorexia is a little bit of a paradigm shift, because as anorexics, we thrive in deprivation. We work harder, faster, longer than anybody, and with less food, sleep, or water, and we're proud of it. And that's part of the sickness of the anorexia. So, what you want to do is be creative. Things like sleeping on the couch is not a good consequence for an anorexic. That's actually a reward. Okay? So what we want you to do is maybe set up I sleep on the floor next to the master bed. I'm not allowed to isolate from my spouse, but I don't get the comfort of the bed. So that may be a night, a week, a month, whatever is motivational to you. I have some anorexics that have been in the spare bedroom. That actually can get kind of comfortable. So a consequence like removing the bed in the spare bedroom or sleeping on the floor in that room is more consequential. Now, After about a year, we generally encourage a pain stimulus to be applied for the first year. Recovery is the most motivational. But with operant conditioning theory, positive reinforcement is probably, as we do know, is the best way to make permanent change. So something like maybe if you've been in recovery a while and painful consequences aren't really all that motivational, make it a rewarding a reward rather than a consequence. So let's say you're sober from your anorexia for 7 days. You go get a coffee at the local coffee house, your favorite latte, cold drink, whatever. Okay, or you go 30 days without being anorexic. You go buy a new pair of shoes, a watch, a wardrobe item. That's rewarding to you. Okay. Now, if you're the partner, generally the wife of an anorexic or addict, you also are going to implement boundaries and consequences for yourself. You're going to implement those for yourself, just like I described for the addict. Now, there is sometimes a bit of a challenge when your spouse, your addict, that spouse that's an addict or anorexic, you know they're violating their boundaries, they're not pursuing you with the 3 dailies or the date or the sexual agreement, and they also are not doing their consequences. What are your options? You can still, a boundary for you is to protect yourself. It's not to punish him or her. So I want to make that distinction. And it's usually something you both agreed upon, they know is a consequence. You just can't make it up and go along, well, you didn't do it this time, therefore this is your consequence. Now, if it's something to protect you, if he or she acted out, you need time to protect yourself, so they're not allowed in the bedroom, or you need a polygraph, these sorts of things, again, are not motivated by your pain or an emotional decision. It's already planned and established ahead of time to protect your heart. Okay, again, it's to protect your heart, not to punish. All right, so hopefully these tools and tips were helpful for boundaries and consequences. If you have any more questions, feel free to give us a call or email us. But we look forward to seeing you on the next Winning Series clip. Thanks.